Hi, Mr. Hauser. My
Hello.
name's Sarah Helmer.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
So, as I mentioned before, I'm completing a report on the job satisfaction of the employees at Dish Network. So, I was hoping to ask you a few questions today about your company, your position with the company, and also the direction that you'd like to see the company take in the future.
Okay.
All right. And this interview should take about 10 minutes, probably a little bit less. And if it's all right with you, then we will record.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so if we can start, please just give me an overview of what your company does for its customers.
Dish Network provides television, like a cable company, and they also provide internet for customers too. And
Okay.
we're able to provide customers with TV and internet who live in rural areas where folks don't have, like infrastructure of like phone lines and cable lines. So we can pretty much get in any residence as long as they don't have, as long as they have a line of sight, like a clear view of the southern sky.
Okay, so the line of sight, can you go into a little bit more detail about what that means?
Just like the antenna has to point south, so it has to point straight at the sky. No trees, no obstructions. It has to be clear of obstructions. So as long as you have the line of sight, you can technically have it anywhere as long as you have power.
Okay, great. So what is your role in the company? What is your position?
I'm a technician. I troubleshoot, upgrade, and install new customers with their dish equipment, whether it's video, and I'm also certified to do the internet too.
Okay. How long ago did you start with Dish Network?
I started April of 2013, so it's been almost a year and a half.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about how someone in your position climbs through the ranks?
We are evaluated by our metrics, and we have several metrics. We have a completion rating, how many jobs you're able to get in. We're evaluated by a quality rate. It's called trouble call rate. So if a van or another technician has to roll to the same job you were before, 30 days after you completed the job, it's a trouble call if it's an issue they're having with their system. Then you also have signal fails. Like if you hook a receiver up online to a broadband source, and they're actually able to monitor the signal and it's below a certain threshold, they can actually tell if the antenna has low signal, you get a signal fail. You also have customer satisfaction scores, so not every time, but maybe 1 out of 3 customers will get a survey that you deal with, and if they leave you good scores, that gives you, good numbers on your metrics. And you also have how many receivers you connect online as a percentage. So it's a hit or a miss. If the customer has internet, connect them. If they don't, then you just don't get it.
Okay.
So meeting those metrics, you're able to go a rank up every technically 84 days because it's measured on a rolling 84-day calendar. So it's an average of 3 months approximately. You have to be at a certain number to keep going up. And to get up higher, those numbers, change. They make it more difficult for you to level up.
Okay.
Because you have to be better.
And have you leveled up since you've been with the company?
I have.
Tell me about that. How many times? What has that meant for you as an employee?
I've leveled up twice, from a 1 to a 2, from a 2 to a 3. It's a 10% increase of hourly pay each raise. So it stops at level 4. So after level 4, there's really nothing else to go to. It's kind of a dead end. The only additional raise you would get would be your annual raise, which is still based on metrics, but it's a much lower percentage. It's only 3% max per year, or 3 to 5, I think actually. So I went from a 1 to a 3. They don't give you any extra money for all the certifications, like doing internet and stuff like that, but it gives you more opportunities to do different things.
Okay.
To keep your job a little more fresh.
And how would you say your increase in levels compares to the average dish technician?
It's above average.
Okay. So you feel like you've been a successful employee with the company?
Almost definitely.
So I'm sure that you've heard Dish Network has been rated one of the worst companies to work for 2 years in a row now by 24/7 Wall Street. So how do you feel about that? Why do you think that is? the way it is? What do you think people's main complaints are about the company? I know you mentioned that once you hit a certain point, there's not much, there's no way to really move up any further in the company, but what other issues do you have?
I think a lot of those reviews aren't really from technicians. I think they're from different folks who do, like, maybe customer service, like the folks you talk to on the phone, like troubleshooting or setting up jobs. Honestly, like, it's a bunch of small things, like with metrics, like let's say like you're going to a job or you haven't even gotten there yet, but it's scheduled on your route for the day, so you see it in the morning and you know you have to eventually go to it, and it's routed, accordingly. And let's say the customer calls in and cancels that work order. You never even got to that job, but it counts as a canceled appointment, and that affects your completion rating. Small things like that things you don't have any control over that do affect you dramatically, can be very frustrating. But really, other than that, though, there's nothing I complain about too much about that job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it's a good job. It pays well.
Right. So what could management do to better that situation?
One of the problems with the company might be is how it's structured, because the lower level management, they don't have a lot of pull.
Okay.
All these reevaluations have to go up a chain, and they're reevaluated by people who don't even know you, and they just look at numbers. They don't actually know who you are, because really you're just like a number out of 5,000. There's about 5,000 techs in the country.
Right.
So if managers on the lower end, like they call them field service managers, if they had more pull, where they could just reevaluate it before it has to go through your OM, your general manager, your regional operational manager, and some vice president dude. It has to go up through this chain of reevaluations for metrics. It should just be done in-house. But I think maybe why it's not is because favoritism might, be in play. Because it's your manager.
Right.
But these folks need to have integrity. I think that it could still work if they hire good people.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, where would you rate your satisfaction with Dish Network?
I give them like a 7 or 8.
Okay. Have you ever considered leaving Dish Network for another job?
I have.
And do you mind me asking what company or what job that was?
AT&T.
And why did you
2
consider
times.
them? Oh, 2 times.
Yeah.
And why did you consider that?
Well, I've heard they're a much better company to work for. They have really
Nice.
good health insurance and benefits.
Okay.
But I'm not interested in phone lines and stuff like that.
Okay.
I just don't have the interest.
But
I actually like
satellite.
what I do.
Okay.
It's fascinating. I like the industry, the satellite business.
So are there things that Dish Network could do to guarantee to hold on to you as a valuable employee?
I don't know, because it goes back down to lower management not having a lot of pull. Money talks, but I don't really know how much they would be able to give me if I threatened them and gave them an ultimatum.
Sure.
But I'm not that kind of person. I wouldn't do something like that.
But if they found a way to give the lower management more power and created a system of more fairness with the trouble calls and all of that, do you feel like you could see a future with Dish Network?
I mean, I can. The company was rated twice like the worst company to work for in America, 2012 and 13. And they've been doing things to help get away from that. Like they're doing these, what do you call them? Like every mid-year it's a survey. Every employee takes a survey. And they're actually, legitimately looking at the feedback, and they're looking to improve on the company. Because they know they did not do well the last 2 years.
Right.
And they don't want to be known for that.
Well, that's great that
they are doing some things.
they're trying to improve and
Mhm.
employees notice. That's excellent. All right, Mr.